Good afternoon with Westman Weather. I'm Brett Carruthers. Well, October was a pretty nice temperature-wise and ended on a fairly bright and warm note. And despite a chilly overnight low of -6 last night, it seems the warming trend is going to continue. With that, let's take a look at our current conditions. Currently in the Wheat City, it's +1 degree out and partly cloudy. A little bit breezy too, with the wind coming from the east at 20 kilometers an hour. For this evening, the temperature will be dropping down to -8 under cloudy skies with a slight wind coming from the north at 10 kilometers an hour. Heading into Wednesday, it's a fairly similar situation. It'll be cloudy with overnight low of -7 and wind from the west at 10 kilometers an hour. Changing to the satellite image now, you'll notice that there's a fair bit of widespread cloud over the southwestern Manitoba area. And taking a look at our radar image, you'll notice this cell of precipitation around the Winnipeg area that's bringing the provincial capital some white snow. But with the probability of precipitation in this area around 10% for the next little while, the system shouldn't affect our area at all. Looking at the 3-day forecast, it should be sunny and beautiful, but look out for that wind though. Wind chill values will be a factor. Wednesday, we'll see a high of 4 and a low of -7 with a westerly breeze blowing at 15 kilometers an hour. For Thursday, the high will be 8 with, again, a low of -7 degrees. There's a 10% chance of precipitation and wind from the south at 20 kilometers an hour. Closing out the week, you'll want to get out of there and enjoy yourself. Friday, the temperature will climb up to 12 degrees before settling down to a low of 1. There's a 10% chance of precipitation and wind from the west at 20 kilometers an hour. Around the province right now, Winnipeg is 0, Portage -1, Dauphin -1, Neepawa and Carberry are -2, and Killarney is 1. Minnedosa and Virden round us out at -2. Seasonal norms for this time of year are a high of 4 and a low of -7 degrees, which is about where we've been sitting recently. The record high for this date was 17.2, set in 1981, and the record low a nasty -21.9 back in 1991. Once again in the Wheat City, it's -2 degrees and partly cloudy, as well as a little bit breezy with an east wind at 20 kilometers an hour. That's all for your weather, but stick around, Scott's up next with Newsline Sports.
Good afternoon. With Newsline Sports, I'm Scott Coleridge. Well, the Philadelphia Phillies are still alive in the World Series. Chase Utley homered twice as the Phils downed the Yankees 8-6 to cut New York's lead down to 3-2. Utley now has 5 home runs in the series, tying Reggie Jackson's record for a single fall classic. Utley hit a 3-run blast in the first inning and a solo shot in the 7th. The series resumes tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium with New York's Andy Pettitte set to face off against the Phillies' Pedro Martinez. In the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers lost for the 5th time in 6 games, this time to the New York Islanders. The Isles got a 2-goal game from Brendan Witt and went on to beat the Oil 3-1. In Phoenix, a bankruptcy court judge has approved the sale of the Coyotes to the NHL. However, the conclusion of the team's bankruptcy proceedings didn't help the Coyotes avoid a franchise record low announced crowd of under 6,000 for their 5-3 loss to the LA Kings. In the only other game, Mike Richards and Jeff Carter each scored twice for Philadelphia in a 6-2 win over Tampa Bay. Tampa got goals from Jeff Halpern and Steven Stamkos, who continues to make his case for a Team Canada Olympic spot. Turning to the NFL, the New Orleans Saints are off to their best start in franchise history with a 35-27 victory over Atlanta. Jabari Greer scored on a 48-yard interception, and it's the 5th time this season the Saints have returned to a pick to the end zone. With the win, the Saints improved to 7-0 on the season, which is tops in the NFL. A 16-year-old Ontario Hockey League player remains in intensive care and in critical condition after an on-ice incident last Friday. Kitchener Rangers rookie Ben Finelli is in a Hamilton hospital with fractures to his skull and face and a laceration above his eye. He was hurt when he went headfirst into the end boards when checked by a player for the Erie Otters. Finelli was conscious as he was taken off the ice and flown to Hamilton General Hospital, which specializes in head injuries. The Erie player, 20-year-old Michael Liambas, was assessed a 5-minute major penalty for boarding and a match penalty. The league is still reviewing the incident. And Jess, that's all the time we have for sports.
Thanks, Scott. Have you been watching any of the World Series?
I've been checking it out, yeah. It's coming up Game 6, and they're going to be at Yankee Stadium.
And I'm hoping for the Phillies win. Who are you hoping for?
Well, usually I'm a Red Sox fan, but I'm gonna have to go for the Phillies.
Just because the Yankees, I just can't like A-Rod. He's just too much for me.
Yeah, he's been in a whole wave of controversy for the last year or two, so.
Okay. And that's going to conclude this Tuesday edition of Westman Newsline. Be sure to join us tomorrow here on Brandon's only TV newscast, Westman Newsline. Goodbye for now.